Yesterday, Sarah and I celebrated our second wedding anniversary. She told me she had never loved anyone before me. But today, while cleaning the storage unit, I found this. A wedding album from 5 years ago. That's Sarah in the white dress, radiant and happy. But the man she's kissing isn't me. And the most terrifying part, he's wearing my grandfather's watch. The first thing I noticed was the watch. Not the wedding album, not the dead man's face. The watch. A stainless steel Submariner with a scratch near the clasp. Thin white line across the metal. I knew that scratch because I'd made it myself 6 months earlier while unloading patio furniture in our garage. The man in the photo was wearing it 3 years before I met my wife. I remember sitting on the floor beside the unpacked boxes while rain tapped against the windows of our new house in Coral Gables. The air smelled like cardboard and fresh paint. Somewhere upstairs, an empty vent rattled every few seconds. I kept turning the page. Every photo looked wrong in a different way. The wedding itself looked expensive enough to belong in a magazine. White stone estate. String lights over a reflecting pool. Hundreds of guests in black formal wear. And my wife, Sarah, looked almost unfamiliar. Not younger. Sharper. Like someone concentrating on a performance. Then I saw the groom clearly for the first time. Same height as me. Same dark hair. Same jawline. Even the same tired crease near the left eye. His name was printed in silver lettering beneath the photograph. Victor Vance. I stared at the photo long enough for the room to feel cold. Because the longer I looked at him, the more it felt like I was looking at myself after a bad night's sleep. And then I turned over one photograph and saw the date. October 2019. 3 years before Sarah and I met. That should have been the disturbing part. It wasn't. The disturbing part was realizing the watch in the picture was mine. Sarah and I had been married a little over 2 years. She worked pediatric night shifts at a hospital outside Miami. Quiet person. Controlled. Organized. The kind of woman who folded grocery receipts before throwing them away. We just moved from Seattle after I sold my software consulting business. Florida had been her idea. Warmer weather. Reset energy, she called it. Nothing about our marriage felt unstable before the album. Not perfect. Just calm. Looking back, the calmness itself feels strange now. Like hotel air conditioning humming loud enough to hide another sound underneath it. That first night after finding the album, I slid it back into the box exactly where I found it. Beneath old tablecloths and kitchen towels that still smelled faintly of detergent. I didn't confront her. I watched. That became my routine. I started noticing details I'd ignored before. Sarah never used social media around me. She kept one old leather duffel bag locked with a luggage cable. She took calls outside, even in the humidity. And every few nights, usually around 2 in the morning, her phone vibrated once on the nightstand. Never twice. Just once. No ringtone. No notification sound. A single vibration. Then silence. The first time I checked her screen while she showered, there was no message visible. Only a weather app open over the home screen. But the battery usage showed an encrypted messaging app she claimed she didn't have. That was when the uneasiness stopped feeling irrational. I searched the marriage license database in Washington State the next afternoon. Victor Vance and Sarah Bennett. Married October 2019. No divorce record. I refreshed the page 3 times because I thought maybe the county site was lagging. Outside, sprinklers clicked across our lawn in mechanical bursts. The smell of wet grass drifted through the office window. No divorce. No death certificate. Nothing. And then I searched for Victor himself. His social media stopped in December 2019. Abruptly. No farewell post. No memorials. No tagged photos afterward. Like someone unplugged him from existence. I became careful after that. Careful in the way people get when they suspect they're being watched too. I stopped searching from the house Wi-Fi. Used coffee shop networks instead. Downloaded county records at a library 20 minutes away. Every new piece of information made the previous one worse. Victor had been a tech investor from Oregon. Money from cybersecurity startups. Real estate holdings. Boat registered in the Keys. Reported missing after a boating accident near Marathon. No body recovered. Sarah inherited nearly everything 6 months later. I found the article inside the album 2 days after the first discovery. Hidden compartment in the back cover. The clipping smelled old and slightly mildewed like damp paper left in storage. Tech entrepreneur missing after nighttime boating incident. Underneath the headline was a photo of Sarah leaving a courthouse in sunglasses. Expressionless. The article mentioned severe weather that night. Coast Guard search suspended after 72 hours. The unsettling part wasn't the article. It was the timeline. Sarah changed her last name 4 months later. Then relocated to Seattle. Then met me. The transitions were too clean, like stepping stones placed in advance. I started comparing photographs of Victor to myself obsessively. Same posture. Same beard style. Even similar clothing. I found an old picture from Sarah's phone backups where Victor wore gray Henleys almost identical to mine. Then I realized something worse. Sarah had started buying my clothes shortly after we met. Not suggesting them. Buying them. Jackets, shoes, watches. Even the frames for my glasses. The realization hit me in a parking garage downtown while fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. I wasn't becoming similar to Victor. I had been selected because I already was. That night, I searched deeper into Victor's disappearance and found a comment buried in an old boating forum. One sentence from a deleted account. Guy never drowned. Feds were around his house week before. No replies. No explanation. But suddenly, the story shifted again. Maybe Sarah wasn't a widow. Maybe Victor vanished on purpose. And if that was true, what exactly had I married into? The answer arrived through a storage unit invoice. I found it inside Sarah's locked duffel bag while she worked a double shift. Humidity pressed against the windows while thunder rolled over the water outside. I remember my hands shaking hard enough that the zipper kept catching. The storage unit was under another name. Rebecca Vale. I drove there the same night. The facility sat beside an abandoned strip mall north of Homestead. Half the fluorescent lights inside the hallway were dead. The concrete smelled wet. Inside Unit 214 was a life Sarah never mentioned. Boxes of legal files. 3 passports. Cash bundles vacuum sealed in plastic. And photographs. Hundreds of them. Not just Victor. Men. Different states. Different years. Most looked vaguely alike. Dark hair. Similar build. Similar age range. Some photos were candid. Grocery stores. Beaches. Parking lots. Others were intimate enough to make my stomach tighten. Vacations. Restaurants. Apartments. Relationships. That was when I thought I understood everything. Sarah was running some kind of manipulation scheme. Targeting specific men. Replacing them emotionally. Possibly financially. I found another marriage certificate. Then another. Different states. Different names. No divorce records. No death records. Just disappearance. My chest felt tight inside that storage unit. The air barely moved. Somewhere down the hallway, a metal door slammed shut hard enough to echo. I took photos of everything. And then I found the videotapes. Old mini DV cassettes labeled by year. One of them had Victor's name. I bought a converter the next morning and watched the footage alone in my office with the blinds closed. The video quality was grainy. A boat at night. Wind hammering the microphone. Sarah crying. Victor pacing. And then Victor saying something that rearranged the entire story. Not to her. To the camera. He said he couldn't keep doing this to people. Then the footage cut abruptly. That was the moment I believed Sarah had been covering up murders. And I believed I was next. I planned to leave without confronting her. That was the last rational decision I made. I transferred money quietly, booked a hotel near Tampa under another name, backed up every file I'd found. Then I made one mistake. I opened Sarah's laptop instead of leaving. There was no password, almost like she wanted me to see it. The desktop contained one folder. Just one. My name. Inside were surveillance photos of me going back nearly 8 years. Seattle coffee shops. An airport in Denver. A grocery store in Portland. Me outside an apartment I'd lived in before meeting Sarah. The timestamps predated our relationship by years. My skin went cold. Then I saw another file. Bennett Family. Inside was a birth certificate. Mine. Except it wasn't exactly mine. The father's name was different. I kept staring at it while the air conditioning hummed above me. Different father. Different hospital. Different county. I thought it was fake until I found adoption paperwork attached underneath. Closed private adoption finalized in Tacoma, 1993. My mother had never mentioned adoption. I opened another file. DNA results. 2 names highlighted. Mine. Victor Vance. 99.8% probability. Siblings. My mouth actually went numb. The room felt tilted. Victor wasn't a stranger who looked like me. He was my biological brother. Twin brother. And Sarah knew before I ever met her. I barely remember driving after that. Rain smeared across the windshield while my thoughts kept collapsing into each other. Then another realization surfaced. The surveillance photos weren't taken by Sarah alone. Some were impossible. Angles from offices, airports, government buildings. The boating accident wasn't an inheritance scheme. Victor had been cooperating with federal investigators against one of his own companies. Financial crimes, offshore laundering. Sarah wasn't originally his real wife. She was part of the operation protecting him. The marriage had started as cover. But somewhere along the line they became real. And then Victor disappeared before testifying. Not dead. Hidden. The problem was what came next. Because Victor had apparently become paranoid enough to believe someone close to him would expose his location. And according to Sarah's files, that person was me. I confronted Sarah the night she came home from work. No yelling. No threats. Just the album open on the coffee table and rainwater drying in my shoes near the door. The refrigerator hummed loudly in the silence. She looked at the photographs. Then at me. And for the first time since I'd known her, she looked tired instead of controlled. I told her I knew about Victor. About the federal case. About the adoption. About the surveillance. She sat down slowly without taking off her coat. And then she explained the part that destroyed everything else. Victor hadn't vanished because someone wanted him dead. He vanished because someone had already tried once before. Me. 10 years earlier, before I even knew he existed, I'd been investigated for stalking related to a sealed juvenile psychiatric incident connected to my biological family records. The adoption agency had hidden the twin birth intentionally after our biological mother lost custody. Victor discovered me accidentally through DNA genealogy years later. According to Sarah, he became obsessed with meeting me. But after monitoring me for months, he changed his mind. Because our psychological evaluations were nearly identical. Same compulsive tendencies. Same fixation patterns. Same documented dissociative episodes under stress. Victor believed one of us eventually became dangerous around the other. That was why Sarah tracked me before meeting me. Not to manipulate me into replacing him. To determine whether I already knew he existed. But the second twist came when Sarah finally opened the final video file on her laptop. Recorded 6 months earlier. Victor alive. Older. Thinner. Nervous. He said he was done hiding. Said he wanted to contact me directly. Then he said something I still hear at night when the house gets quiet. He said I'd already found him once before. The video included security footage from a marina in Oregon. Me stepping onto Victor's boat 2 years before I met Sarah. I had no memory of it. But the timestamp was real. The footage showed us arguing. Then the camera glitched during a storm. The next visible frame showed me leaving alone. Victor disappeared that same night. Sarah had married me afterward because she believed staying close to me was the only way to learn what happened to him. Not because I resembled Victor. Because she thought I killed him. The worst part is that after watching the footage over and over, I started remembering fragments. Saltwater. Rain. Victor saying we were the same person split wrong. My hands shaking. The sound of metal striking fiberglass. And suddenly I understood why Sarah never truly seemed afraid of me. She wasn't waiting to become my next victim. She was waiting for me to remember whether I already had been his. The police reopened Victor's case 3 months later. They never charged me. No body was ever found. But sometimes I wake up at night and hear the single vibration of Sarah's phone beside the bed. One buzz. Then silence. And I still don't know if she's receiving messages from Victor. Or proof that I finally remembered the truth.